Have you ever wondered how the current Gaza crisis started? It all began with a series of threats from Hamas, the political organization wielding significant power in the Gaza Strip. These threats were not ordinary ones. They were chilling threats to execute Israeli civilians. But why would Hamas make such a grim proclamation? It was in response to Israeli airstrikes in Gaza. These airstrikes were not targeted at military installations or terrorist cells. They were indiscriminate, hitting areas populated by civilians without any prior warning. This dangerous escalation didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of a long-simmering tension that had been building for years. A tension born out of territorial disputes, political disagreements, and cycles of violence that have plagued the region for decades. This isn't just about one side versus the other. It's about people, men, women, and children, caught in the crossfire of a conflict that's spiraling out of control. It's about the fear, the uncertainty, the loss that comes when peace gives way to war. The threats from Hamas represented a significant escalation in this ongoing conflict, igniting a powder keg of tension and setting off a chain of events that has led to the current crisis. What began as threats soon turned into a full-blown confrontation, plunging the region into a state of chaos and uncertainty. The threat of violence from Hamas set off a chain of events that has led to the current crisis. Now that we've seen how the crisis started, let's turn our attention to Israel's response. In the face of growing threats from Hamas, Israel's stance has been firm and unwavering. They express an unwillingness to ignite wars, but when the safety of their citizens is at stake, they stress their readiness to respond decisively. This is not an easy decision, nor is it one taken lightly. It's a vow born from a commitment to protect their people and their land. Israel's government likens Hamas's tactics to those of ISIS, drawing a parallel between the two groups' barbaric acts. This comparison is not meant to be a mere political rhetoric, but rather a reflection of the brutal reality that they are facing. The execution threats, the indiscriminate rocket fire, the wanton disregard for civilian lives, these are all hallmarks of both groups according to Israeli officials. The aim of this comparison is twofold. Firstly, it seeks to underline the severity of the threat posed by Hamas, not just to Israel but to the broader region and indeed the world. Secondly, it is a call to the international community to recognize and respond to this threat. Israel is keenly aware that it is not just fighting a local terrorist organization, but a global menace that shares ideology and tactics with some of the world's most dangerous groups. Israel's response is a testament to its commitment to safeguard its citizens and uphold its sovereignty. It is a strategic response aimed at not only ending the immediate threat, but also preventing future escalations. The Israeli Defense Forces, with their state-of-the-art technology and highly trained personnel, are determined to neutralize the threat posed by Hamas. But this isn't just a military endeavor. At its heart, it's a fight for survival, for the right to live in peace and security. It's a fight that transcends borders and touches the very core of human rights and dignity. Yet the path to peace is fraught with difficulties, and the consequences of this conflict are far-reaching. The civilian casualties, the destruction of infrastructure, the displacement of people, these are realities that Israel grapples with as it strives to defend its citizens. Israel's steadfast refusal to back down has added another layer of complexity to the crisis. Every move, every decision is a balancing act between safeguarding its people and striving for a long-lasting peace. It's a precarious tightrope that Israel navigates with the world watching closely. But what about the rest of the world? Where do they stand in this conflict? As we delve deeper into this crisis, we find that the world is not simply watching from the sidelines. Numerous nations are vocalizing their support, particularly for Israel. One of the most notable endorsements comes from the United States, specifically President Biden, who has publicly backed Israel's right to defend itself. His administration has emphasized the importance of Israel's security and has called for the de-escalation of violence. But it's not only the United States that stands with Israel. World leaders from across the globe have expressed their solidarity, from Europe to Australia. They condemn the actions of Hamas, likening them to the atrocities committed by organizations such as ISIS. The shared sentiment is that these acts of violence are not just against Israel, but against humanity itself. However, the support for Israel is not without its complexities. While many nations condemn the loss of innocent lives, they also acknowledge Israel's right to self-defense. It's a balancing act of diplomacy, where leaders are careful to advocate for peace while also recognizing the need for protection and security. The global implications of this conflict are far-reaching. It's not just a skirmish between Hamas and Israel, it's a battle against barbarism. It's about preserving democratic values, fighting terrorism, and standing up for human rights. The world is watching, and the decisions made now will have repercussions beyond Israel's borders. The international community's response is a testament to the gravity of the situation. It's a reminder that this isn't just about politics or territorial disputes. It's about people, their lives, their safety, and their fundamental rights. So, as we continue to observe the unfolding events, it's crucial to remember the broader context. This isn't just Israel's fight, it's a global concern. The world is taking a stand, and their support sends a powerful message. The global support for Israel suggests that this conflict is seen as a battle against barbarism. There's more to this conflict than meets the eye. Let's delve into what's happening behind the scenes. In the labyrinthine world of Middle Eastern politics, alliances and rivalries are often shrouded in a veil of secrecy. The current crisis in Gaza is no exception. As the tension between Hamas and Israel escalates, a third player looms large in the shadows: Iran. Speculations are rife about Iran's potential involvement in supporting Hamas. These aren't baseless assumptions. Iran has a history of backing armed groups in the region, and Hamas, with its anti-Israel stance, fits the bill. Reports suggest that Iran has provided Hamas with both financial aid and military training, bolstering their capacity to resist Israeli forces. But what does Iran stand to gain from this? On the surface, it appears to be part of their larger strategy to extend their influence across the region. By supporting Hamas, Iran positions itself as a key player in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a move that could potentially win them allies among other anti-Israel factions. This potential involvement of Iran is a game-changer. It adds a layer of complexity to an already intricate crisis. For Israel and its allies, it poses a daunting question: how should they respond? A direct confrontation with Iran could escalate the situation further, leading to a wider regional conflict. On the other hand, ignoring Iran's support for Hamas could embolden the group, prolonging the crisis. Perhaps it's time for Israel and its allies to rethink their approach. They need to devise a strategy that addresses not just Hamas but also its potential backers. This could involve diplomatic efforts to isolate Iran internationally or economic sanctions to cut off its support to Hamas. As we dive deeper into the conflict, it's clear that the Gaza crisis is not just a local issue. It's a complex web of regional politics where each thread is interconnected with the others. The potential involvement of Iran adds another dimension to this already complex crisis. Despite the challenging circumstances, something remarkable is happening within Israel. In the midst of conflict and uncertainty, the people of Israel are rising, showing an inspiring level of resilience. Every day in cities and towns across the country, volunteers are stepping forward. They're offering aid and comfort to those in need, providing food, medical assistance, and emotional support. They're not waiting for someone else to do something, they're taking action themselves, embodying the spirit of unity and compassion that has long been a defining characteristic of the Israeli people. But it's not just the volunteers. Families, too, are opening their homes, offering shelter to those displaced by the conflict. They're welcoming strangers, treating them as their own, sharing meals and stories, and creating a sense of community in the midst of chaos. And beyond the individual acts of kindness, there's a broader sense of unity emerging, a sense that as a nation, Israel is standing together, facing the crisis head-on. There's a collective resolve, a determination to endure and overcome that is palpable in the air. In the face of adversity, the Israeli people are demonstrating remarkable resilience. They are showing that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can shine brightly, offering a beacon of hope for a better, more peaceful future. As we've seen, the Gaza crisis is a rapidly evolving situation with profound implications. The conflict, sparked by threats and airstrikes, has garnered global attention. Israel's firm stance, coupled with international support, highlights the worldwide significance of this issue. Behind the scenes, speculation around Iran's involvement adds another layer of complexity. Yet amidst the turmoil, Israeli resilience shines through, embodying a spirit of unity and strength. The crisis in Gaza is a multifaceted issue, far-reaching in its impact. Stay informed and hopeful as we continue to monitor developments in this ongoing conflict. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the Gaza crisis. In these troubling times, knowledge is a beacon guiding us towards understanding and, hopefully, peace. By liking and subscribing, you're not just staying updated on the situation, but also helping to spread awareness. Remember, every voice matters and yours can make a difference. Our thoughts are with all those affected by the conflict. Stay safe and informed.